You are not broken, you are not weak, but you are missing something, and you feel it, that gnawing ache in the chest, that heaviness in the morning, that confusion in your mind when the day begins. It is not a sickness. It is the symptom of a life without direction, without structure, without a written law. You believe something is wrong with you. You wonder why motivation dies, why your discipline fades, why no matter how hard you try your fire doesn't stay. Let the answer is simple. You've never written your definite chief aim. You've never built your structure for greatness. You've waited for clarity to find you, but it will not. Solomon did not wait, he declared. Edison did not hope, he constructed Lincoln. Did not feel his way through destiny, he carved it in stone. Every man you admire had one thing in common: they declared their purpose, and they obeyed it without excuse. In this speech I will teach you how to end the drift. I will teach you how to build your purpose, not by emotion, but by command. And when you do, you will never feel lost again. You were not born to drift, but you've been drifting every day you wake without a written purpose. You think your fatigue is a flaw. It is not, it is your soul. Rebelling against aimlessness. Man was made for aim, and without it even strength becomes suffering. You mistake your exhaustion for weakness, when it is only the cost of waking up without a mission. Confusion is not a condition, it is a consequence. A man becomes confused when he walks into the battlefield of life without a strategy, without a banner, without a target, and yet he expects to win. You cannot win the war of life by improvisation. You win by law, and law is written through purpose. You feel anxious because your mind was designed to follow a command, and you have given it none. Mind will serve whatever you place upon the throne, and when no clear aim sits there, the mind turns to fear, doubt, distractions, and decay. This is not punishment, this is law. Law never punishes, it only reflects. There is no shortage of energy in you. There is only a shortage of direction. That is why you scroll without thinking. That is why you work without joy. That is why the quiet moments feel unbearable, because a man without a written purpose does not know what to do with silence. It haunts him. You have spent your life hoping for purpose to whisper itself to you from the clouds. You have believed that the call would strike like lightning, that one day out of nowhere clarity would descend, and you would finally know why you are here. But that is not how purpose comes. Purpose is not a whisper from heaven. It is a declaration from man. Let me tell you a truth. You are not supposed to wait for purpose. You are supposed to construct it. You are supposed to ride it. You are supposed to declare it with finality and back it with blood, sweat, sacrifice, and spiritual force. No great man in history waited for a sign. He became the sign. You must become the sign. You must stop walking into days unarmed. You must stop opening your eyes without a command. The man who does not give himself a law will be ruled by the law of others, and most others are lost. Look at history. Carnegie did not wait for his calling, he created it. He declared his aim to unify industry and enrich lives. Ford did not wait to be told. He was ready. He broke the rules of production and built a new world. Edison was not handed his mission. He worked with 10-0 failures to bring light to mankind. Lincoln was not appointed destiny. He rose through grief and defeat, fueled by an aim that would not die. These men were not given permission. They did not wait for validation. They wrote their aim, and they obeyed it without apology. The world today is filled with men who perform without purpose. They journal, they meditate, they read, they hustle, but still they are lost because they have never declared the one thing that gives those rituals meaning: a definite chief aim. If your aim is not written, it does not exist. If you do not read it aloud daily, it does not command your mind. If you do not track your obedience to it, you are not building, you are wandering. A man may be talented, he may be spiritual, he may be hardworking, but if he lacks aim, he lacks the ability to harness all those virtues toward a meaningful end. Energy without aim becomes chaos. Discipline without aim becomes burn out. Passion without aim becomes confusion. Purpose is the alignment of your energy with your eternity. It is the force that shapes your identity. It is not merely what you want to do, it is what you must do, backed by a decision that does not expire in the parts that follow. I will teach you what no classroom teaches, what no mentor can give you, and what no book can do for you, unless you decide how to construct your purpose from nothing, how to enforce it like law, and how to become the man who no longer drifts because he walks in rhythm with his own declaration. You will learn to stop waiting for permission. You will learn to tell yourself the truth. You will learn to write your aim, to protect your environment, to make decisions like a builder, and move through pain without losing your rhythm. And when this speech is over, if you do not merely listen, but act, you will no longer say, "I feel lost." You will say, "I am the man who built his direction." You have been told that purpose must be discovered, that you must search for it like buried treasure, but let me speak plainly. No man in history ever built an empire by waiting. No man ever changed the world by hoping clarity would arrive. The men who became legends did so because they made a decision before they felt ready. This is the first law you must burn into your mind. Purpose is not discovered, it is decided. And the man who waits to feel ready will die waiting. Do not romanticize hesitation. Do not crown confusion as a noble phase. Confusion is not a phase, it is the default condition of those who refuse to act the moment you write down your aim. Confusion begins to die. Thomas Edison had no formal education. He had no degrees. He was told he was slow, and yet he declared, "I will light the world." That decision was not approved by society, it was not confirmed by experts, but the power of the decision, backed by rhythm and repetition, made him a master of light, not because he waited, but because he chose. Every day you hesitate, every day you delay, you deepen the neural trench of drift, you create a mental climate where aimlessness is normal, you build the habit of postponing power, and like all habits it calcifies. You begin to believe that clarity must precede action. But the truth is the opposite. Action creates clarity. Do you know what the phrase "I'm still figuring it out" really means? It means I've chosen delay over decision. It means I have elevated doubt to authority. It means I am still asking the world for permission to move. This phrase is dressed in intellect, but it is born of fear. It is drift with a diploma. It excuses inaction and sanctifies delay. The man who says, "I'm still figuring it out," will still be saying it 10 years from now, because he never defined the problem he was born to solve. And that is the key. Purpose is not a vibe, it is not a passion, it is not a brand, it is the answer to the question, what problem am I willing to suffer? For that question is the hammer that breaks illusion. Do not ask what you enjoy, ask what you would bleed for, because your purpose is never free. It will demand pain, it will demand rejection, it will demand delay. And if your goal cannot survive cost, it is not your purpose. You may say, "But what if I choose the wrong aim?" Good, choose again, but choose, because even a wrong aim will teach more than passive contemplation. Life is a workshop, not a waiting room. The man who builds even the wrong house learns more than the one who sketches perfect blueprints. Forever ask yourself, what truths would I speak, even if I were mocked? What wrongs would I right, even if no one thanked me? What vision would I chase, even if it cost me every comfort? Inside those questions, your purpose is hiding, not as a whisper, but as a demand. You do not need clarity to begin, you need courage. The first decision will be messy, the first action will feel uncertain, but obedience to your declaration is the fire that sharpens every step. The future is not waiting for your perfection, it is waiting for your decision. Edison decided, Ford declared, Lincoln acted, Schwab moved. None of them were granted clarity. They were granted an opportunity to declare their law and to obey it until it bent the world. You have that same opportunity right now, today. Write these words on your wall. If you must, I do not wait. I decide. Purpose is not an inheritance, it is an act of creation. It is not a letter from heaven, it is a law written from within. And the world bows not to the one who waits, but to the one who commands. From this moment forward, stop pretending to be confused. You are not confused, you are undecided. You are not lost, you are uncommitted. But you can change that in a moment. One sentence can become the fire of your life. This is who I am, this is what I build. Say it, write it, move, even if it's imperfect. Move, because motion is the offering that summons clarity, and drift is the altar where dreams are sacrificed. There is no greater enemy to your purpose than self-deception. The man who avoids truth will never receive truth. You cannot claim to Seek destiny while refusing to confront your dishonesty, if your habits betray your goal, if your day refutes your declaration, if your words flatter, while your actions falter, then no purpose can survive in you. You speak of wanting greatness, yet you spend your strength avoiding responsibility. You say you want to lead, but you still follow weakness. You say you want purpose, but you still protect patterns that destroy it. The man who lies to himself about the cost of his aim is already disqualified from ever achieving it. Abraham Lincoln did not become great by charm, he became great by confrontation. He faced defeat after defeat. He bore the burden of a torn nation, yet refused to excuse his duty. He admitted his failures, he walked in grief. He never flattered his ego with false victories. That is why he became a monument not of ease, but of endurance born from truth. If you wish to step into your purpose, begin with brutal accuracy. Your life, not someday. Today, take out a notebook and write down the last 30 days of action. How many hours went to your aim? How many went to escape? Be specific. Vagueness is where lies breed. Be honest, not proud. What behaviors have you repeated that build nothing? What thoughts have you rehearsed that strip you of faith? What people have you entertained who laugh at law, mock structure, and despise vision? Write their names. Cut the thread. Comfort is not peace. Laziness is not rest. Most men have mistaken spiritual paralysis for self care. You do not need more rest, you need more command. You do not need another excuse, you need an oath to power. If your days are full, but your heart is hollow, the diagnosis is not mystery. It is drift. Stop praising balance when it has robbed you of fire. Stop pretending moderation is wisdom when it is apathy in disguise. Your soul was built to burn for something, and if you do not burn for your aim, you will smolder in resentment, depression, and spiritual death. Nothing burns longer than wasted potential. Right. This now I tell myself the truth, even when it burns. Let this be your new law. Let it be the flame that purifies. Your next action purpose begins with moral clarity. You must look at your current self and say, this is what I have allowed, and I will allow it no more. This is not guilt, this is not shame, this is ownership, and ownership is the root of all dominion. A man cannot govern the world until he governs his hour, and he cannot govern his hour until he stops lying about how he uses it. Truth is not cruelty, it is alignment. It does not punish, it corrects. It does not mock, it rebuilds, but it cannot touch you until you invite it. Ask yourself, what lie have I told myself for 5 years that I now see clearly? What have I excused that has cost me? What would my highest self no longer tolerate? Then do this. Record the answers. Do not think them, write them, then speak them aloud until they become commandments. I no longer tolerate weakness. I no longer name delay as planning. I no longer confuse drift with discovery. From that moment you will feel pain. Good, that pain is power. It means the old identity is dying. It means the mask is cracking, and only the man who endures that crack will wear a crown of power on the other side. You may fear the truth, but you must fear delusion more, because truth stings, delusion starves. Truth hurts once, delusion haunts forever. The man who avoids the mirror becomes a stranger to himself, but the man who faces it becomes commander of his fate. Say this. Clarity begins where illusion ends. Say it until the fog lifts. Say it until the next choice becomes obvious, because the next choice is what shapes the next hour, and the next hour is what shapes the next life. You do not fix your life by waiting for purpose to land on you. You fix your life by burning illusion and replacing it with one clear law. I obey what is real. I reject what is false. The great tragedy of most men is not that they failed, it is that they never knew how much strength they had, because they never stopped lying to themselves long enough to use it. No aim can survive the acid of self-deception. You must become a furnace of truth. If you wish to become a fire of destiny, you must walk naked into judgment and emerge clothed in purpose. So begin here today. Write the truth of who you are, then write the truth of who you are becoming, and then every day remove one habit, one thought, one influence that contradicts that future. In time you will become that man, not because you tried, but because you told the truth and obeyed it. No man builds a cathedral from a thought. No general wins a war from a hope. No empire was ever raised from a vague desire. First act of all great achievement is written command. Until you write your purpose you are pretending, until your words are said in ink repeated aloud and obeyed daily, you are merely whispering fantasies to a drifting soul. Thought without form is vapor, intention without record is a lie. The mind tells itself to avoid responsibility. A written definite chief aim is not motivation, it is law. It is the covenant between who you are now and who you are becoming. Until that contract is drafted, reviewed, and enforced, you are not yet building, you are still dreaming. Andrew Carnegie knew this. He instructed me to sit and write a single paragraph that would define my life. That paragraph would shape the decades to come. He did not say, write when you feel inspired. He said, write now, because until that aim is written, no faith can form, no action can align, and no rhythm can begin. When you write your aim, you give your subconscious something to obey. You awaken infinite intelligence, and direct it. You stop begging for clarity and start constructing it. The universe cannot assist a man who does not declare where he is going. Write your definite chief aim in the present tense, not I will not someday, but I am. Present tense commands future tense. Hopes and hope is not a plan. Hope drifts, law builds. Your written aim should be specific. Do not write fog, do not write dreams without discipline. Define the goal, define the timeline, define who you must become to hold it. Do not hide behind poetry. Write with precision. This is not a prayer, it is a proclamation. Here is your instruction tonight. Before sleep, take a blank sheet of paper and write my definite chief aim is. And do not rise until it is completed. Do not eat again until it is spoken aloud. Post it where your eyes cannot avoid it. Speak it morning and night. Speak it when you are strong. Speak it when you are tired. Speak it when you believe. Speak it when you doubt, because repetition engraves repetition. Commands repetition is not childish, it is divine law. Every master obeyed it, every builder rehearsed it, every titan of industry was made not by chance, but by written aim and faithful execution. The man who does not write his aim becomes the slave of every man who did. He becomes a leaf in the wind of another man's storm. He wakes and serves systems. He does not believe in clocks. He did not build routines. He does not understand, not because he lacks talent, but because he lacked declaration. You must speak with power. I write my aim with fire and law. Say it now, let that be the oath upon which you rise. Your subconscious is a builder, but it only builds from blueprint, and the blueprint is your written purpose. Without it, the subconscious has no direction with it. It works in silence, in dream, in instinct, in opportunity, until the outer world bends to what was once only written. Let no man mock written word. Let no man call it silly. Those who scoff are the same who drift. Those who scorn are the same who wake every day unsure of who they are. Let the world joke, let them laugh, let them label it delusion. But let me remind you, every prophet was first mocked, every builder was first called mad. Every declaration was once strange until it built a kingdom. So write your kingdom. Say aloud, my purpose is a command to my mind. You are no longer asking, you are commanding. You are no longer requesting belief, you are demanding obedience. This is how identity is shaped, not in feeling, but in force, not in waiting, but in writing, not in hoping, but in hammering each word into law, because the word becomes flesh, and your flesh obeys the words you repeat most often. If you are still unclear about your purpose, it is because you are still unwilling to write badly, write poorly, write confused, but write, and keep writing until the line cuts through fog, until the words feel like war drums, until you hear them, and rise without thought. Say, my purpose is not a mood, it is a command I obey in all weather. Say it 10 times. Let the repetition anchor you. Purpose is not something you discover in silence. It is something you construct in obedience. The pen becomes the sword, the words become the orders, the repetition becomes the rhythm, and the rhythm becomes the man. You have spoken enough, you have thought enough. Now, right now, we move to the 4th part, where we examine how your surroundings either enforce your purpose or erase it. Let us continue. You may have written your purpose, you may have spoken it aloud, but if your environment contradicts that purpose, you are divided, and the divided man does not Build he breaks. The subconscious mind is not a fool. It hears your aim once, but it hears your environment daily, and it obeys what it hears most. You say you want greatness, but what are you surrounded by? Gossip, noise, cowardice, wasted time. Then that is what your mind will obey, because environment is the daily suggestion to your subconscious, and every suggestion that contradicts your purpose weakens it. Henry Ford did not gather entertainers, he gathered engineers, men of silence, men of order, men who built more than they spoke. He knew environment is not comfort, it is command. I protect the climate of my calling, he would have said, not in those exact words, but in every action he took. You must do the same. If your aim is greatness, then mediocrity cannot be allowed within your walls. If your aim is discipline, then indiscipline cannot be allowed to dine at your table. If your aim is power, then weakness cannot advise you. You cannot allow contradiction and expect harmony. Let me ask you, who speaks into your mind each day? Whose voices do you hear? Whose habits do you watch? Whose results do you tolerate? Because those voices shape your direction more than any single decision you make. Your aim may be written, but your company is what reinforces it or erodes it. You cannot water a seed in poisoned soil. You cannot build a temple while inviting termites into the foundation. Protect your mental environment as you would guard your child from disease. My environment obeys my purpose, not the other way around. When I wrote my definite chief aim, I had to choose silence over distraction. I had to sit apart from men who scoffed at dreams, not because I was better, but because I was building, and builders must not take advice from drifters. Builders must not let noise corrupt law. The man who keeps contradicting counsel around him is like a general who invites spies into his war room. You may have the plan, but your circle will betray it. Charles Schwab rose not because of talent, but because of proximity to law. He was not surrounded by applause, he was surrounded by expectation. Andrew Carnegie demanded growth, clarity, and results. That environment shaped Schwab into a titan. I build the circle that builds me. Schwab's life declared you must now do the same. Build your climate, choose your company. And if no one fits your standard, then walk alone. It is better to walk in silence than to sit in fellowship with those who belittle your vision. Say it clearly, I protect the climate of my calling. You must now construct rituals to enforce this law, set boundaries for conversation, decide when you speak. And when you retreat, create a space, physical or mental, where no one speaks but your purpose, where no one enters but belief. Call it your throne room, your command chamber, your temple of law. In that space, rehearse your aim aloud. In that space, read the biographies of great men. In that space, plan your next campaign of progress. Let no weak word enter, let no idle noise survive. This is not retreat, this is reinforcement. The man who rules himself must first rule his surroundings, because if your room is in chaos, your mind will mimic it. If your table is littered with distraction, your thoughts will mirror that confusion. Order is not decoration. It is law, and law must be enforced not once, but daily. Your environment should reflect your destiny, not your history. You must not let comfort decorate your room. You must let clarity design it. Remove the old, remove the sentimental, remove what belonged to the man you are leaving behind. Say it with finality. My environment is designed by my future, not my past. This includes speech. If the words around you are doubt, sarcasm, compromise, cut them off. Not all noise is harmful, but all noise that contradicts belief is. Words are seeds, and you will either harvest greatness or garbage. Speak only what strengthens, listen only to what aligns, and if you find yourself in a place where all words destroy, then speak. None. Silence becomes your ally. When the world offers no clarity, I choose silence over contradiction. I said during my hardest seasons, and that silence preserved me. Understand, this environment is not only physical, it is spiritual, it is audible, it is habitual. It is the rhythm of your morning, the silence of your night, the voices you welcome in the in-between. Every one of those elements either reinforces your identity or removes it. Repetition is law. And if the repetition around you is disorder, mockery, or stagnation, then you are being trained to accept mediocrity. You cannot expect purpose to survive in such soil. Purpose must be protected like royalty. and that means your environment must become a palace of alignment. Your task now is this: remove one conversation, one person, one place, one object that weakens your purpose. Add one voice, 1 hour, one ritual, one symbol that strengthens it. Repeat this process weekly. You are not a victim of environment, you are its architect. And if your world feels misaligned, it is because you forgot your power to design it. Declare now with certainty: I protect the climate of my calling. My environment obeys my purpose, my circle honors my law. I allow only what aligns. If your aim is sacred, then your surroundings must reflect that sanctity. No more compromise, no more excuses, no more sharing your throne with gestures. You are the ruler, let your realm obey your law. Now we move forward. The next law: the man who knows his aim must decide without decision. There is no motion without motion. There is no proof. Let us continue. A man may speak of purpose. He may write it, declare it, dress it in noble words. But if he does not decide, he remains a dreamer in chains. Decision is the lifeblood of purpose. Without it, purpose withers into decoration. Without it, a man becomes a preacher without a pulpit, a soldier without a war. The man who knows and yet delays is more lost than the man who never knew, because to know and not act is betrayal of the highest order. It is the sin of neglect. A man who walks without clarity is a wanderer, but the man who knows and still stands still, he is a coward in disguise. Charles M. Schwab built an empire not because he was the smartest, but because he decided faster. While other men hesitated, calculated, and waited for signs, Schwab moved. His belief was proven. By boldness he adjusted as he walked. But he walked. The world rewards speed tied to vision, not paralysis. In the name of perfection, let me speak to your hesitation. You are not confused. You are hesitant. You are not stuck. You are undecided. Do not call your fear caution. Do not call your delay wisdom. If your aim is known and your motion is absent, you are not acting in law. You are acting in fear. Now understand this: the subconscious mind believes what you do more than what you say. You may say, I know my purpose. But if you do not move, your subconscious records doubt. If you delay a decision tied to your purpose, your inner world hears this is optional, and what is treated as optional will never become law. I move without hesitation. You must now declare, not once, but daily decision proves my belief in my aim. These are not poetic lines, they are commands, and the subconscious, when fed commands with repetition, becomes your soldier, not your saboteur. A man of purpose acts not because the stars align, but because his mind has aligned with command. He does not need full clarity, he needs only law. When law is written, decision becomes automatic. And when decisions are automatic, results multiply. Consider again Thomas Edison. He did not wait for certainty. He made 10-0. 0 failed attempts, not because he doubted, but because he decided once, and that decision carried him through every experiment. He did not decide daily, he decided once, and obeyed that decision as law. You must now adopt that standard. Make one major decision this week that aligns with your aim. Make it boldly, then make 2 more small daily decisions that reinforce that major one. These are your bricks. Lay them daily, and the fortress of your purpose will rise. Here is how to decide with power. Review your definite chief aim aloud. Identify what action confirms that aim. Set a timer. Make the decision in under 5 minutes. Do not explain, do not justify. Act. Track your progress, not for punishment, but for proof. This is not a performance. This is the discipline of kings. The man who hesitates lives in regret. The man who decides lives in rhythm. Every hour you delay makes the aim harder to believe. Every day you stall becomes proof to your inner mind that you are not serious. That is why indecision is not neutral. It is destructive, and purpose cannot survive in indecision. It needs proof. It needs blood. It needs movement. Let this be your commandment. I do not think about motion. I live in motion. Your aim is the compass. Decision is the engine. Without it, you circle the same mountain and call it growth. You may say, but what if I'm wrong? Then you will correct course in motion. The man who builds corrects while laying stone, but he does not stare at the foundation, and wonder. He acts, he commits, he trusts correction more than contemplation. Understand, indecision is worship of fear, decision is worship of law. When you decide, you tell your mind, this is who I am now, and identity begins to shift. That is the secret of the builders. They did not become. By thinking they became. By deciding, decision is not emotional, it is structural. It is the architecture of purpose. Every command you make followed by obedient action is another pillar in your identity, and identity once strong becomes the very ground your future walks upon. So I say again this week, make 3 decisions, one bold, something you've delayed for months, 2 small, something daily, sacred, non-negotiable, all aligned with your definite chief aimant, and do it with rhythm, do it with finality. Do not ask others for approval. Do not ask your mood for permission. Ask only your written law. Does this build my purpose? If yes, then do it. If no, then cut it. This is the clarity you've lacked. This is the standard of the kings you admire. Ford did not build by thinking, he built by deciding what he would no longer tolerate, and that decision became motion, and that motion became a factory, and that factory became a revolution. You too are a revolution waiting to be declared. But revolutions do not come from intention, they come from action. They come from the hour when the man slams his hand upon the table and says, "This is what I do now." Do not walk into another week with your aim floating. Anchor it. With decisions prove your belief. Move without hesitation, and declare each morning with certainty, I move without hesitation. Decision proves my belief in my aim. I am the man who acts before he doubts. Now let us go deeper into the rhythm that proves you mean what you say. In the next part, I will show you that discipline is not struggle, it is the confirmation of purpose. Let us move forward. A man who claims purpose, but lives without structure, is a liar, not a conscious one, perhaps, but a liar to his own subconscious, to the law of cause and effect, and to the very forces he expects to reward him. Purpose without repetition is hallucination. Only the man who repeats his commitment through daily action truly believes it. Edison's hands proved what his mouth said, his journals, his hours, his labs. These were the liturgies of discipline that built the legacy you now praise. He did not shout his purpose, he obeyed it. Obedience is a form of worship, and the man who obeys his purpose with military consistency is declaring to life itself, I will not be denied. Discipline is misunderstood. It is not punishment, it is not drudgery, it is proof of seriousness. You do not rise at dawn because it is fun. You rise because your law requires it, and that law is sacred, for it was born from vision. Understand this, a man who needs to feel motivated has not chosen a real aim. The man of purpose wakes not by preference, but by program. His body obeys the clock, his mind obeys the word he gave himself, his environment obeys the rhythm he enforces. That is why I say my rhythm reflects my purpose, not once but every morning. That is why I instruct you now, build a rhythm so clear that it eliminates the need for emotion. Let discipline become identity. Start here, 1 hour per day, protected, purpose-filled, non-negotiable. Call it your sacred hour. In that hour, do only what advances your definite chief aim. Do not answer for others, do not scroll, do not react. You are the commander, and that hour is your kingdom. In that hour, read aloud your aim, work on it. Realization, study something that builds it, create something that confirms it, record your results, track your behavior, measure progress without tracking. You will drift without review, you will regress, and do not skip it. If you miss a day, you have not failed, you have violated your law, and the mind remembers that. The subconscious notes every broken vow. Each skipped hour is a vote for drift, each kept promise is a vote for power. This is why I say I rehearse success until it obeys. That phrase is not for decoration, it is law. Repetition is the mother of mastery, and mastery is the mother of confidence. The man who repeats with intention becomes unstoppable. Show me your calendar, and I will show you your faith. Show me your routine, and I will show you your future. If your rhythm is vague, your results will be vague. But if your rhythm is sacred, your results will obey. Like servants, you must become a man. Others cannot interrupt a man whose rhythm is known. Like the rising sun, he rises, he works, he reviews, he repeats. This is not automation, it is alignment now. Let us expose the common excuse, "I don't have time." That is not true. You have the same hours as Ford, as Edison, as Lincoln. What you lack is law over those hours, and law begins with 1 hour daily, unshakable, guarded. Ask yourself, what do I do every morning? Does it reflect the man I say I am becoming? Or does it reflect the man I swore to leave behind? There is no neutral habit. Every action either builds or breaks you every hour, either affirms your aim or weakens it. There is no just a day off. That is drift disguised as rest, and drift is the great thief of destiny. Now build your daily rhythm, wake, time set in stone. First words, read your aim aloud, sacred hour, protected, purposeful, planned, review nightly, odd. It what served the aim, what did not, weekly command, adjust, refine, recommit. When this becomes habit, you will no longer need force. You will wake with fire, because your body will remember, because your mind will anticipate, because your soul will obey. That is discipline, not brute will, but refined law, not suffering, but sacred repetition, and through it you will become something no force on earth can stop. The world obeys the man who first obeys himself. You must now say it with me, and mean it. My rhythm reflects my purpose. I rehearse success until it obeys. I do not skip. I do not delay. I move in law. Let this be your new standard. When others drift, I drill. When others debate, I decide. When others collapse, I rise, not because I feel better, but because I trained longer. Let the world wonder how you built it. Let them call it talent, luck, mystery. But you will know it was rhythm, it was discipline, it was law. And now let us go deeper, for even discipline, as powerful as it is, will face trial, the trial of pain, of doubt, of loneliness. In the next part, I will show you that purpose does not spare you suffering, it gives your suffering meaning. Let us move forward. The man who seeks ease will never be trusted with greatness, for the journey of purpose is not lined with comfort, it is lined with fire. Every step toward your definite chief aim will demand that something inside you dies. Your weakness, your excuses, your comfort, these must burn, so that power may rise. And let no man tell you otherwise. Purpose does not prevent hardship, it justifies it. Pain, when married to aim, becomes the fuel of transformation. Pain, when aimless, becomes suffering. The man who suffers has no aim. The man who suffers for his aim is being refined. This is why I declare I pay the price of my vision, and I do not say it with sorrow. I say it with conviction, for I know no great builder rose from ease, no empire was born from softness, and no mind ever reached greatness without walking through trial. I did not write, think, and grow rich in a palace. I wrote it in poverty, in war, in doubt. I was told to stop. I was laughed at. But my aim was law, and my law did not bend for circumstances. Purpose made me unshakable. It whispered, do not bow, you have work to do. It chained me to the vision, not the outcome, so I could keep writing even when no money came. I could keep studying even when fear knocked. I could keep speaking even when silence answered. You must now make the same vow, that your aim is greater than your comfort, that your vision is louder than your feelings, that your law is stronger than your mood. This is why I affirm I bleed for my aim and rise stronger, for the man who bleeds for a cause becomes a force. He becomes the one others watch in awe, not because he is special, but because he refused to stop. Let me be clear, you will lose friends, you will be misunderstood, you will be mocked, not because you are wrong, but because you are rising, and your rising confronts their mediocrity. Your discipline exposes their delay, your progress reveals their passivity. But let it be so, for the same ones who mock today will marvel tomorrow. The same voices that say he's too intense will one day ask, how did he build it? And you will smile not with arrogance, but with memory. You will remember the days you wept, but worked, the nights you doubted, but wrote the mornings you rose, while others slept. Do not wish those days away. They are your making. They are your foundation. They are your initiation into power. Edison endured 10-0 failures, but he did not flinch. He welcomed each one, not because he loved pain, but because he loved his purpose more than his peace. You must ask yourself now, what do I love more, comfort or calling? Do I rise for approval or for my own oath? If you have not cried for your aim, you have not chosen. A worthy one, if you have not bled for it, through effort, through misunderstanding, through rejection, then your aim is still a hobby, not a law. Now let us make it law. Repeat this: I pay the price of my vision. I bleed for my aim, and rise stronger. My pain is proof I am alive with purpose. And now take inventory. What difficulty have you been avoiding? What trial have you labeled as unfair instead of useful? What part of you needs to burn, so that power may rise? Write it, face it, name the price. And then pay it willingly, for the man who pays the price is the man who owns the result, the man who dodges. The fire will always envy the man who walked through it. Do not envy, walk. When fatigue comes, speak your aim. When betrayal comes, stand taller. When silence meets your effort, increase your effort. When no one claps, clap for yourself. You must become the man who cannot be stopped, not because he is invincible, but because he is decided men. Move mountains, decided men. Silence, fear, decided men. Do not ask for ease, they ask for alignment. And they receive it not from the world, but from within. Now build this vow: on the days when your body aches, you will act. On the days when your name is forgotten, you will speak. On the days when your purpose feels far, you will repeat it louder. This is the forge of destiny, the place where pain meets persistence, where tears become triumph, where pressure becomes legacy. Let the fire shape. You let the pressure prepare. You let the suffering have meaning. For one day, when others collapse, you will walk forward. When they tremble, you will lead. When they flee, you will build, not because life spared you, but because you trained under trial. And this is why purpose is not the path of the many, it is the burden of the few. But those few become kings, builders, founders of legacies that echo across generations. You were not made for the soft path, you were made for the sacred one. And now let us move to the final test, the test that separates the committed from the casual, the test that proves whether your purpose has become identity. For purpose must outlive emotion. Let us continue. Purpose is not proven by excitement. Excitement is a spark. Purpose is a fire that must be tended daily, even in the storm. A man who rises only when he feels like it, who speaks only when inspired, who builds only when praised, has not yet found purpose. He has found performance. Your emotions are like wind and rain, necessary but not reliable. And the man who ties his destiny to his mood will always drift, but the man who ties his identity to law will walk through the weather unchanged. My purpose outlives my feelings. That is the vow you must repeat until it replaces all hesitation. Look at John D. Rockefeller. The man faced court scandals, sabotage, public hatred, and yet remained unmoved. Why? Because he had chosen, because he had written his aim in stone, and refused to rewrite it in storm. This is the difference between men who finish and men who flicker. Emotion make you start, but only obedience makes you finish. You cannot build a kingdom on enthusiasm, you must build it on execution. This is why I say I act by law, not by mood. My feet move even when my heart is tired. My hands build even when my spirit aches, because I am not serving feeling, I am serving law. When your emotions rebel, you must respond with discipline. When your motivation fades, you must answer with movement. When your joy disappears, you must call on your vow. Most men stop because they think the loss of emotion means they are failing, but in truth it means they are being tested. Will you still write when the spark is gone? Will you still lead when no one listens? Will you still train when your body begs for rest? Will you still act when your soul feels hollow? These are the moments that define you, not the days you feel good, but the days you don't, and still obey the aim. Write this in your mind. Like iron, emotion will betray you, mood will mislead you, feeling will fade, but law will endure. I have watched men full of energy collapse because they had no standard. I have watched men praised by crowds fall because they depended on applause. But I have never seen a man who lives by law fail, because even in failure he remains faithful, and that is power, faithfulness over time, in spite of opposition. You want to know if your purpose is true? Ask yourself, would I still do this if I was never thanked, never paid, never applauded? If the answer is yes, then you have found it. Purpose is the only thing that makes silence bearable, the only thing that makes sacrifice holy, the only thing that makes the long road noble. You must now live not for the rush, but for the result, not for the emotion, but for the eternal. Wake up tomorrow with no expectation of ease. Expect resistance, expect fatigue, expect solitude, but go anyway, because that is how a man proves he has become purpose itself. On your worst day, speak your purpose louder. Do not wait for hope to return. Become hope by action. Do not wait for emotion to return, replace it with execution. Let this be your vow. I rise without applause. I build without feeling. I obey the aim I wrote when I was strong, even when I feel weak. This is how you finish what you begin. This is how you become what you once dreamed. This is how you conquer yourself and then command your future, because once purpose becomes identity, the world must adjust to your rhythm. And no storm, no setback, no silence can break you, because you are no longer acting from emotion, you are acting from law. And when your purpose has survived fatigue, heartbreak, betrayal, silence, failure, and loneliness, then you will know you are the builder, now not the seeker, not the talker, not the dreamer. You are the man who decided and then delivered. Let us now move into the final command. For purpose must not only survive, it must be repeated, reinforced, reviewed, and obeyed. Forever. You are not confused, you are not cursed, you are not lost, you are simply undecided. And until you decide with power, speak with clarity, and act without apology, your future will remain fog, your days will feel hollow, and your heart will ache with unseen potential. The world does not honor the man who feels, it honors the man who chooses, the man who says, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is what I build and obey. Purpose is not magic, it is law, and law must be written, spoken, guarded, and obeyed. This is why I say again, write your aim to do not go to sleep without it. Write it in bold letters, present tense, from the voice of certainty. Then rise tomorrow and speak it aloud. Let the sound of your aim become law of your day. I do not search, I declare. That is your new identity, and every morning after you must speak it again. You must act in alignment with it. You must reject anything that does not build it. You must walk away from voices that question it. You must refuse all comfort that weakens it. The man who builds legacy is not the man with the strongest feeling. It is the man with the most repeated decision. Identity is not found, it is forged by thought, by word, by movement. Repeat this truth aloud. My aim commands my life. Say it again and again until you feel it deepen into the marrow of your bones. You may still feel fear, but you will no longer obey it. You may still feel resistance, but you will not stop. You may still feel tired, but you will move anyway, because the man you once were is not the man you have chosen to become. This is the entire doctrine of success. Decide what you are, declare what you build, repeat it until it replaces everything else inside you. Now listen to this final instruction. And do not delay. Write your definite chief aim. Write it as if your life depends on it, because it does. Read it aloud twice daily, morning and night. Burn it into your subconscious. Take one action in alignment daily, no matter how small. Movement builds belief. Guard your environment. Remove voices, habits, and distractions that contradict your law. Reject every thought that weakens your purpose. Refuse doubt. Replace it with declaration. Do this for 90 days. Do not break, do not beg, do not explain, just obey, and you will become a new man. You will wake with clarity, move with strength, speak with calm command. You will no longer ask the world for permission. You will no longer follow aimlessly. You will no longer betray yourself for approval, because you will have become a man of law. I have discovered my purpose because I built it. That will be your truth, that will be your legacy. And when others ask how you became so clear, so powerful, so certain, you will smile, not with arrogance, but with calm knowing, and say, I simply did what I said I would do every day, no matter what. That is greatness, that is power, that is purpose, fulfilled. Now go write your law and obey it, until you become the man law rewards.